Alright, you lot. Splitgate's back in beta limbo. Battlefield's eyeing your wallet like a mugger on payday. And some of you want to know what a bloody fortune teller would say about me. Spoiler alert, it ain't long life and happiness. Welcome back to Hey Scotty. Only place where we answer your questions with more vinegar than a chippy fate. We've got bangers, nostalgia, dark comedy and hard truth coming at end that'll shut up both sides of the aisle. No safe spaces here, no dev pass cards, just pure uncut opinion. Let's crack on. Silver Bullet 90 asks, hey Scotty, how do you feel about new rumours and updates for Splitgate 2? I haven't been able to play much since they went back to beta. Supposedly they're removing BR and Onslaught modes for a while. I can't convince my buddy to even try it again. He says it's too fucking sweaty and apparently everyone uses hacks. Right, so here's the thing. I were hyped for Splitgate 2, fully. Portal guns in a fast arena shooter. It had legs. It proper grabbed me. First it felt like devs knew exactly what they were doing. Smart balance, tight maps, not trying to be COD, not trying to be Halo, but still pulling punches from both. Then it went quiet, like watching a racehorse break a leg mid-sprint and just hobble about in a circle while vets argue which end to shoot. Now we got rumours about them binning BR and Onslaught for a while. Brilliant! Bint mods people actually used to convince the mates to come back. Onslaught was sweaty, yeah, but at least it felt like a mod with purpose. And BR? Say what you want, but it pulled eyes. They're not just tweaking things, they're yanking stuff out like they're gutting a fish without checking if it's still alive. I'll admit I've still got it installed, staring at me on Xbox menu like a dog you forgot to walk, but I ain't feeling it anymore. I jump in, play a round or two, and it's just dead behind eyes. Sweaty lobbies, yeah, full of triads and half at lobby probably riding walls with aim assist turned up to Jesus mode. And yeah, hacks are a thing. I've seen kill cams that look like Matrix rebooted in low res. And I wanted this to work. I would like to tell people, boy, come try this out. It's future arena shooters. But I can't even convince myself. I'll play it now and then, same way I might dip into Fortnite when I'm half asleep and just want to mess about for 20 minutes. It's in that pile now, casual unwind with no commitment bin. I wish them best, I really do, but they're going to need more than a rabbit out of hat. They need to resurrect Bloody Magician. And until then, me and my mates, we've already moved on. Ah, thanks for that, mate. You did have another question, but I saved that one for end. Stay tuned. Firkinell asks, hey Scotty, if you went to a psychic, medium, witch, fortune teller, what would they say to you? They wouldn't say, oh mate. They'd scream, full on piss the robes, grab holy water, scream in Latin while they backflip through stained glass window. Second I walk in, little crystal ball would crack itself out of sheer self-preservation. Sage would burn into flames just to warn others. You ever seen a psychic puke and cry at the same time? That'd be their opening act. I should be whining scribbled in back pages of whatever dusty Necronomicon they keep under floorboards. Have you heard it, Devil? Yeah, I'm not him. I'm one who reminds him he's behind on his quarter. I'm not evil, let's be clear. I don't kick kittens or vote for tax hikes, but I'm not exactly welcome in temples unless it's to test the smoke alarms. I've got that energy that rattles wind chimes without touching them. I walk past a mirror and it gives me a thumbs up out of fear. Ghost don't taunt me, they request asylum. Last Ouija board I touched burst into flames and spelled out, nah mate, in Comic Sans. Look, I ain't out here claiming to be some horror movie icon, but I've seen enough dev servers, influencer DMs and broken QA builds to know what real evil looks like. Fortune tellers deal in vibes and shadows. I am shadow they avoid vibing with. So no mate, they won't read me fortune. They call a priest, a therapist and fire brigade, in that order. Thanks for the question matey. Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 asks, hey Scotty, what's your thoughts at new upcoming Silent Hill? Now this one got me attention. I saw a trailer, had a cheeky scroll through so-called leaked early reviews, and I'll tell you straight mate, looks like a banger. All new setting, still we in Silent Hill world, and it's got that rotten stink of dread that franchise used to recur before it got rinsed by its suits and spin-offs. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a long while since Silent Hill did all worth waking neighbours over. Last few attempts? Nah, felt like a fan film made by people who'd heard about trauma through a bloody BuzzFeed list. But this one, new characters, new voices, but it's still Silent Hill underneath. And that's what matters. If you're going to reboot or reimagine something, don't just slap new paint on rust and hope nobody notices. You got to dig into what made it tick. And Silent Hill always ticked like a bomb someone tried to disarm with a spoon. It's not just gore or jump scares. It's guilt, trauma and isolation. That creeping constant wrongness. And this new one looks like it gets that. I ain't gullible. I've seen too many games that look like gold in trailer and turned out to be polished turds when they launched. I've been burned so many times I don't get hyped anymore. I get cautiously curious. But if this delivers even half of what it's promising, I might finally have a Silent Hill that isn't just a shadow or its own name. And between you and me, I could use a bit of bleak inspiration again. Good horror sticks on your ribs. It sleeps while you're half asleep and leaves you twitching every time floor creaks. That's energy I want, and if this one gives me a sniff of that, I'm all in. Pyro also asked, "Hey Scotty, you ever been into comics? If so, who's your poison?" Right, now we're digging into real treasure chest. Comics? Aye, but not your capes and tight shite. I'm not here for American lads in spandex monologuing about justice while levelling half at City Block. I were raised on Beano, mate. Dennis Menace, Nasher, Minute Minx, Roger Dodger, Billy Whiz, Bash Street Kids. Proper chaos. None of this Marvel morals bollocks. Our Dennis were a full-blown domestic terrorist in shorts. He woke up and chose violence. Every day. Nasher at his side like a hairy hand grenade with teeth. They were proud little menaces, and we loved them for it. See, American Dennis, that soft lad with a slingshot and a goofy grin, that's not Dennis. It's what you get if you microwave original for 3 minutes and take out vinegar. Beano wasn't just a comic, it were a manual for rebellion. Every week a full dose of cheeky, irreverent, borderline illegal fun. You had kids getting one over on teachers, adults, each other. Bash Street Kids alone were like a blueprint for surviving a rough school. No powers, no gadgets, just pure shithousery and community-based carnage. They're still going too, somehow. Bit tamer now, bit more polished, like they've been sent through HR training, but they're still out there, keeping a little spark of that old British anarchy alive for next generation of classroom warlords. That were my poison growing up, and no, it weren't subtle or deep or full of character development. It were kids being absolute goblins, and it were glorious. Another set I used to enjoy were little strips of Andy Capp, Agar Horrible, and Judge Dredd every day in Daily Star. Of course, my stepdad used to buy it all the time for sports pages and his daily dose of page 3, which I also enjoyed. But yeah, those little comic strips became a daily staple. And Sonic Hedgehog comics. Really wish I kept those, especially first edition with brown Sonic on cover. So over to you lot. Did you read comics growing up? And if so, who were your favourite character or characters? Cheers for questions, Pyro. Pair of good ones here. Ages444 asks, do you think that Battlefield 6 will crack and pull some Activision shit? People got hung on for a while when they spoke about keeping it grounded for skins, so I was wondering what you think about it. Oh, it's CA, mate. Of course there's going to be bollocks. Saying we're keeping it grounded and following it up with for a while is like saying I'm sober while holding a pint and eyeing a bottle of tequila. They're already planning Clown Parade. They're just waiting until your wallet's open before launching fireworks. But here's a twist most folks don't see coming. It's not regular multiplayer you need to worry about. It's Battle Royale. That's Trojan Horse. Sweat lords and TikTok twonks who live for daft camos and emoji emotes. Let them have it. Let them pour money into limited time banana suits while running around a collapsing island screaming about content drops. EA aren't stupid. They know we at Wales are swimming, and they know that crowd will pay 20 quid for a skin that looks like your nan's curtains. If they're smart, and that's a big if in EA's track record, they'll silo that madness. Keep wacky shit in BR and let main game be what it's meant to be. Boots on ground, squad play, buildings getting absolutely leveled by people who don't know what cover is. But if they start bleeding that clown show into main multiplayer, we riot. No excuses. We uninstall. Because there's grounded realism. And then there's, here's your tactical teddy bear operator with a voice line recorded on a vape. Time will tell, I guess. Thanks for that, Ages. Let's just hope they don't turn this into another fashion show for microtransaction addicts. Jack Left Arm 427 asks, do you stream your gameplay at all? Or if not, have you thought about doing that? Playing games with your followers and so on? Well, mate, this has been sitting in the back of my skull like a drunk uncle at a wedding. Just waiting for the right moment to shout something meaningful between chaos. Streaming? Yeah, I've thought about it more than once. Not just a passing maybe, but proper what if I did it my way kind of thoughts. No face filters, no fake hype, no stream alerts that sound like a broken kettle screaming at you every time someone sneezes near a donation button. I don't want to just hit stream and hope people show up. It has to mean something, to feel like an event, like a storm rolling in. When I go live, it'll be for a reason, not just to chase numbers or slap algorithms' ass for attention. It'll be raw, grimy, real chaos with a Yorkshire accent and absolute zero tolerance for chat clowns. Playing with followers? Yeah, that's on list. Proper community needs, bit of banter, some absolute shambles in co-op, maybe a tournament or two with stakes that don't involve selling your soul to G Fuel. That's vision. Same with podcasts. I've got ideas, special guests, topics that will split opinions harder than Brexit at family dinner, but it's all on pause for now. Why? Real life, mate. Hell's been doing its own DLC season and random plot twists. Business needs attention, and sometimes I've only got one working hand and half an eye to aim with. But I still play, still test, still break things just to see how deep bug goes. When time's right, when I've got energy and stars aligned, you'll know, because I won't just start streaming, I'll arrive. Appreciate question, Jack. Connor Phelan 9825 asks, "Hey Scotty, are you into boxing at all? If so, did you watch Crawford v Canelo?" I'm into it, yeah, but not in that bite merch, stay up until 4 AM, scream at telly like I'm in bloody ring kind of way. Boxing's one of those things I grew up with in background. Old school names, proper rivalries. None of this influencer circus we've got now where two TikTok lads slap each other in the ring for clout and new crypto deal. That ain't boxing, that's drama class with gloves on. Now Crawford and Canelo, I knew it were on, saw trailers, saw Twitter feed meltdown as usual, but I didn't watch live, didn't even bother with replay. Not because I don't respect lads, far from it. I've seen Crawford dismantle people with surgical precision, and Canelo's still got granite in those hands, but life gets in way. And unless it's something really unmissable, I ain't shifting my schedule just to watch two millionaires punch each other for belts I can't even name. And let's be honest, boxing coverage today, it's a bloody paywall swamp. You gotta dodge illegal streams, sign up to 15 apps, and then maybe, commentary won't sound like two blokes trying to read Wikipedia out loud while fate's on. It's lost some of that old grit. Used to feel like a pub war with rules. Now it's all build-up, belt politics, and camera cuts to celebrities who couldn't name a jab if it bit them. Solid question, Connor. Keep them coming. Right, Silver Bullet. Here's other question of yours. He asks, "Hey Scotty, what do you think about latest news about assassination of Charlie Kirk? I didn't know, dude, but apparently there's a lot of backlash for whoever killed him, so he must have been important." Right, no filters, no deflections, this is staying exactly how it needs to be. Charlie Kirk were a man who stood his ground. He were calm, he were deliberate, and he were one of few who would walk into Lion's Den, face angry crowd, and still offer them respect. Not to score points, not to win arguments, but to open dialogue. He didn't dodge questions, he didn't dehumanize other side, he showed up every time, and he did it with conviction. He was assassinated in front of his wife and child. That sentence alone should shatter your chest. But what brought me more were what came after. Celebration, tweets, smug TikToks, people clapping for a killing. Not condemning violence, applauding it, mocking a child who just watched their father die. These are the same people who preach peace, who speak of tolerance, who claim they want justice and unity. But second someone speaks different truth, the cheer went bloody payment. That's not progress, it's not resistance, that's cruelty with a brand sticker on it. And when companies dropped them, when their employers saw what they'd posted and cut ties, they cried foul. Cancel culture is unfair, they said. No, your actions have weight. You danced on a man's grave and world watched. You weren't cancelled, you were exposed. Now let me make this clear. For anyone thinking I'm just throwing stones across aisle, I don't care what your politics are. Left, right, centre, don't matter to me. If you're a good person, you're welcome in my circle. I've game with everyone and everything. Man, woman, non-binary, gay, straight, bloody Apache attack helicopter. I don't give a toss. If you're decent, we're sound. You could be lighting candles in a vegan cafe or blasting Pantera in a meat locker. Makes no difference to me. But if you weaponise your beliefs, if you twist your ideas into hatred, if you celebrate death because someone thought different to you, then I've got no for you. No respect, no sympathy, just a quiet door being shut permanently. I won't pray, that's not me, but I'll still stand in silence on Sunday. 2 minutes, out of respect. Not just for Charlie Kirk, the man, but for principle he died defending. Right to speak, to believe, to stand in open without being hunted down for it. I'm Scott McGuinness. I'm a British right-wing bloke. And I'll stand for what I believe in. But I don't expect anyone to see things my way because I believe in freedom of debate, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. And if we can't have that, then we've already lost more than one man. Rest easy, Charlie. We heard you, and we won't forget. That's your lot for this, and big thanks to everyone who sent in a question. Whether it were chaos, comedy, or something that cut a bit deeper, you lot brought goods. If yours didn't make it this round, sit tight, it's coming. These episodes ain't just filler, the bloodline of what we're building here. Real talk, real people, no polish, no piss taking, unless you deserve it. Join Discord, follow our X, links are in the description. Consider a channel membership if you got a few spare quid and a love for raw truth. Smash like it, subscribe, drop your comments and questions below. Just make sure they don't sound like they were written by a focus group. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent.